The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Morning and welcome to the show. It's RED Friday. Remember, everyone deployed. We hope you wore red today. Thank you for joining us and supporting our troops.
We begin on the tracks, rails stretching beyond the horizon. Each tie a memory, each rail a promise of where we might go. In the early years, our first logo appeared, a pioneer stepping onto the platform of possibility. Through seasons of growth, change, and challenge, we moved forward. The whistle of opportunity sounded, and we boarded the train of time. The view changed with every mile, some stations brief, others lasting. Our logos changed too, not just emblems, but mile markers of evolution. Along the way, seats filled with teammates, mentors, veterans, and friends. Some stayed for the ride, others stepped off, leaving their legacy on the rails behind us. And still, the journey continues. The tracks ahead stretch into the unknown, familiar yet full of new promise. What matters most is how we travel, with purpose, with grit, with heart. Because the journey matters, the movement matters, and the legacy of those logos, every year, every show, lives on in the rhythm of these rails. So here we are once again, all aboard. The whistle blows, the tracks call. Together we ride. We are the H-Train Show, showing veterans programs beyond the VA since 2015. H is in the building now.
Let's go!
Are you ready for the H-Train Show?
It's coming live.
I took the oath. 20 years I gave my soul. Sandstorms, fire, a roadside blast. Everything I knew shattered fast.
You haven't seen nothing yet! Woo!
Drowning in turmoil, 15 meds, mine in a haze. Living felt like a permanent death. Still standing, scarred and proud. Crushed by war, but I won't stay down. Voice of the broken, thunder in my chest. With the freedom fighters rising from the wreck. Parents pulled me from the edge of night, pushed me forward back into the light. Ski boots on, carving through pain. Felt my fire on that frozen terrain. Said I was too old to beat the race, so I trained like hell, put them in their place. From slurred words to a podium stand. Yeah, I'm racing with lightning in my hands. Still standing, scarred and proud. Crushed by war, but I won't stay down. From Kokomo to Olympic slopes, we're the freedom fighters born to cope. Now I take the mic, not a rifle. Broadcast truth, yeah, that's survival. Paralyzed, but still I lead. With every word we plant a seed. Still standing, warriors loud. Can't break us, we screaming proud. Not wounded, we're on the attack. Freedom fighters, and we're taking it back. Freedom fighters, yeah. Keep rising.
Freedom Fighters! Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it is
Not only 5 minutes past the hour, and everybody that is a part of the MBR family package, hey, you guys just got some cartoons sent to you. Also, advertising the best show that we've got planned for you today, none other than our very own Ozzie Gonzalez, his photography. We're going to be talking to him a little bit about, how he does his photography. And, him and MJ, they kind of live off grid. So we're going to find out how they kind of use that to their advantage or disadvantage, right? So, Amber, we have missed you, girl.
I know. I've been out and about doing all kinds of things, and then you've had fabulous co-hosts, so it's all worked out.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we recently we partnered with another company and another ad company, and we have some ads going all over the Denver metro area. And we're gonna kind of do like a contest. So what's gonna happen is we don't know which elevator it is, but you're going to help us find that elevator. In fact, when you go to one of these elevators and you check the display screen, if you see that QR code and you activate it, not only will you activate it by, helping a veteran connecting with resources or with another veteran, to interview them, but you're going to win some cool Beaker gear. We're going to start selling Beaker gear. We've got Beaker soap coming up. We've got Beaker chocolate coming up. And we've got even Beaker like woodwork and stuff like that. So we have tons of things, with anything, good things come slow. So we'll keep you updated. Just keep on tuning in, and we'll lead the way. We promise. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now joining us, I want to take a quick intro, real quick, to let you guys know that you're listening to the H Train Show. Here, our only mission, me and Amber's only mission, is to show veterans and men and women all over the world that there are more programs out there beyond the VA. My name's H.
Hello, I'm Amber.
There you go.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's okay. And then the guy that makes everything sound good, the man behind the glass, or I should say behind the screen, we got HG and
salutations.
And he's what happened?
What do you mean?
I got the TikTok.
Okay, all right. Okay, stupid TikTok, cutting us off all the time. Anyway, so, well, hey, while he works on that, if you want, I can control this, brother. While he works on that, it is that time. How we always do it, ladies and gentlemen. It's mail call time. I can do this. I promise, guys.
He's a little rusty.
All right, today's mail call, ladies and gentlemen, is coming to us from, I believe it's Texas. But anyways, so Sergeant Major Rick David's service didn't end when his uniform came out. All right, everybody. It's time for this week's Soldier Spotlight. And this week, I want to tell you about a veteran. Oh, and you know what? We forgot to hit the intro. That's what we forgot to do. We brought that up, but we forgot to hit the intro.
Oh, well.
I'll find it sooner or later. Man, you're really good at this. I can't, oh, there we go.
Attention mail call.
Oh my God!
Welcome to Mail Call, your soldier spotlight, powered by Work Simple, highlighting those who serve and inspire.
All right, so let's try this again. Sorry about that, everybody.
TikTok has been restored as well.
Okay, perfect. I want to tell you all about this veteran who serves didn't end when he took off the uniform. His name was Sergeant Major Rick Davila. And there's one sentence that really sums up this man's story. He spent 34 years making sure other veterans received their final military honors. Then it was his turn. Rick DeVilla served his country for more than 33 years in the United States Army and the Army National Guard. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
33 years wearing that uniform. For
That's a
most
long
people,
time.
that would be more than enough to say, I've done my part. But apparently, Rick DeVilla didn't look at service that way. No, because after his military career ended, his service to veterans continued. For another 34 years, Rick volunteered with the Memorial Service Detachment at Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery. In San Antonio, Texas, their mission is one that deserves recognition itself. They're there when a veteran reaches their final resting place. Think about that. They're there to provide the dignity, the respect, and the military honors that veterans earned through their service. And over the years, the detachment has participated in nearly 49,000 funeral services. Just stop and think about that number. Nearly 49,000 times. You know, one thing that we do when we're in the service, we find ourselves kind of starting over. You know, you get out wherever you decide to go. Chances are you're gonna go back home, or you know you got a job from an uncle or an aunt or something that gives you the footwear, the foot in the door. Either way, you have to transition. And with transitioning and then trying to find a purpose, something that you can do. It doesn't necessarily have to be money. It could be volunteering, doing funeral honors. It could be volunteering doing a broadcast. It could be volunteering by, training service dogs.
Yeah.
No matter what, and it doesn't matter if you're a veteran or not, everybody has to have a purpose. Once you find that purpose, and once you're good at it, and once you perfect that purpose, well, then the sky's the limit. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the secret to life success. Finding a purpose that you can excel at it. And if you're trying to earn money that way. Mm-hmm. We salute you, Sergeant Major Rick DeVilla, for you giving not only your service to your country, but giving your service to your fellow brother and sister, your veterans. Because a lot of people don't realize this, but there's a lot of veterans out there that do not have family. I cannot stress that enough.
Yeah.
Cannot stress that enough. Okay, so now, with that being said, that kind of rolls us into our top news story, and I'll let you get the controls now.
You got it. All right.
Is it too much for you, Joel?
Oh, no.
I'm just messing with you.
Trying to. There we go.
Week in Review. Next stop, Week in Review.
All right, everybody. So with this being said, this is the top story. Now, I have had a lot of veterans actually reach out to me and said, dude, come on, make this simple. Because everybody doesn't know which way I'm going to turn. They don't know which way I'm going to go. But let me tell you this. There's a situation right now, and this isn't the first time. Everybody acts like this is the first time this has happened. This is not the first time, and it's not going to be the last. From 2003 to Jessica Lynch's story to this right here. Okay, it's and let me put it this way: this is not a party issue. This is a leadership issue. In fact, I have this thing. There we go. All right. So I want to get our top story today, and this is one that really caught my attention, especially as a veteran. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Thursday that the United States Navy has the ability to maintain its naval blockage of Iran indefinitely. Indefinitely. Okay. Now, me and Amber, we were in the military for, a minute. Okay. And one thing that we know is the magnificent word motard. What is the definition of a motard? A definition of a motard is a motivated dummy. Okay. Just because it says good, just because it's green on the paper doesn't mean that it's actually green in real life. Okay. We'll get to that. Think about that word for a second. Indefinitely. The argument from the Pentagon is pretty straightforward. We have the ships, we have the equipment, and we can rotate ships in and out of the region as necessary. And from purely military standpoint, maybe that is true. The United States Navy is the most powerful Navy in the world. We all know that. We've got aircraft carriers, we've got destroyers, we've got submarines, we've got logistics ships, and we've got aircrafts. We've got the ability to move tremendous amounts of military power all around the world. But here's my question. What about the people? Because ships don't operate themselves. AI doesn't operate them. Aircrafts don't launch themselves. Weapons don't maintain themselves. And naval blockage doesn't enforce itself. There are sailors and Marines aboard these ships. They're human beings underneath those uniforms. And there's another story coming out this week that becomes extremely important. The U.S. Abraham Lincoln deployed back on November 21st, 2025. This deployment was reportedly expected to end around May. Well, May came and went. The Lincoln remained deployed. Well, we're in August now. The carrier and roughly 5,000 sailors and Marines this week have raised. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I went a little too far here. The Marines aboard have been deployed for more than 8 months, and reports this week have raised some extremely serious concerns about what those men and women are going through. Okay, now I'm going to pause for a second and let everybody know that I was in Iraq. A usual deployment in Iraq is 18 months. That's arming. Now, I was schooled while I was in Kuwait because I was the jealous private. I went over and I'm like, you guys are in civilian clothes. Why you guys don't have uniforms? No, because we're airmen or because we're seamen, or sailors, and I'm like, that just doesn't make sense. The Marines and the Army have a uniform. Well, we're not held at the same accountability as the Army and Marines. Keep that thought as I go through this. Okay. Times reported that family members say multiple sailors aboard the Abraham Lincoln have attempted to go overboard during this extended deployment. Now, I want to be very careful here because the Navy has not publicly provided a precise number of sailors who have attempted to go overboard or engage in self-harm. Okay, you have speculation, you have families, but the Navy hasn't came out and said anything, right? So the Navy also says the leadership aboard the Lincoln is continuously assessing the psychological readiness of its sailors and its counselors. Chaplain medical professionals and other resources are available. Well, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every allegation we're hearing has been independently proven, because it hasn't. And I'm not going to tell you that being in the military, that we have those little gripes and squabbles. Sometimes we would reach out to our parents and have our parents fight our battles, and then when the commander brings you in the office, hey, do you really have an issue with deployment? No, First Sergeant, no. That's a motivated tard. Okay, that's a motivated tard. All right, because even though the way you think or the way you feel, you ain't going to tell that to the chain of command. You're not going to.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you here that everything has been independently proven, because it hasn't. That's not what we're going to do on this show. But I'm not going to ignore military families who are saying something is wrong, because I've worn the uniform. And if anybody's served, understands something that doesn't always show up on the Pentagon's readiness report. There's a difference between whether a unit can continue a mission and whether the people performing that mission are being pushed too far. Okay. Now I want to pause that for a second, because I want to kind of explain that. Since the last 2 or 3 days, I have been on TikTok and social media, and I hear past veterans, "Oi, suck it up," blah 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 blah. Just driving it, okay? Just driving it. I have people over here that saying, "Hey, they need to suck it up." I've got people over here that have been on aircraft carriers, and they talk about, "Hey, we've been through war, blah blah blah, and we always had a hot meal, always had MREs, etc., etc."
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what's going on in this situation, but right now, from what I'm hearing from families, is the food is not very good portions. There's some bathrooms and showers that are broken, which me and Amber can both agree that's the Army in general. Okay, that's the Army in general.
Military in general.
That is, but I will say this: when I was in the Army, I didn't hardly get any sleep, but I guarantee you, I got fed.
Yes,
I got fed.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets fed.
Yep.
If there's a way, there's a will, there's a way. All right. But I would like to see the conditions that the first sergeant and the commander of this aircraft carrier, I like to see what their status is. I like to see the way they're living. You see where I'm going with this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the Lincoln has reportedly gone around 2 days without a port call. All right. That's a long time. Okay. Even the Army, after 6 months, we have usually they call it a 4-day pass in Qatar, where you have a little bit of relaxation before you go on 2 weeks leave. Because remember, the Army deployed 18 months.
Yeah.
All right. Now, normally, according to the reporting from the Stars and Stripes, carrier crews may see port visits approximately every 30 to 45 days. Although, obviously, combat operations and mission requirements can change that. But we're talking about months here. We're talking about months without stepping off that ship. That's the key thing. Remember that. Months away from their spouse, months away from their kids, months the same walls around four corners. You've heard of the thing called cabin fever.
Oh yeah.
It's a real thing. Months away from your kids, months away from passageways, workspaces, operational pressure, day after day. I'll tell you, when I was in Iraq, I remember one day I was on that 240 Bravo, and I was praying to God that he would just take me, because, we got extended. We didn't know the extend date, and just like that purpose that we was talking about earlier, a veteran, a soldier, a Marine, They have to have some kind of a date or some kind of goal line to work towards. They have to. It's a morale thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And now families and lawmakers are raising concerns about morale, mental health, supplies, living conditions. Just how long are these sailors can reasonably be expected to keep doing this? Well, Defense Secretary Hexas says reports
Indefinitely.
describing poor conditions aboard the Lincoln have been misrepresented. Okay. That's important that's important to include too. We should hear both sides of this argument. There's an important development in the USS George Washington, who is reportedly being sent to the Middle East to replace the Abraham Lincoln. Officials say that the rotation was already planned, and actually that supports part of Hakes' argument. Because when he says the Navy can maintain the blockade indefinitely, he isn't necessarily saying keep the same soldiers out there indefinitely. He's saying ships can rotate, crews can rotate, one carrier can relieve another. And that's how the military sustains operations. Fair enough, right? But here's where I still have a problem. When we rotate them, because if you're telling me that we're capable of rotating forces, but at the same time we've got families publicly begging someone to pay attention to what's happening to their sailors, then we need to ask whether those rotations are happening quickly enough. They're saying everybody who serves has heard in one form or another, mission first, people always. You have to complete the mission. I understand that. Sometimes the military is going to ask you to do things that suck. Sometimes you're going to go and miss Christmas, miss birthdays, miss anniversaries. Sometimes you're going to sleep somewhere you don't want to sleep. Out in the, eat something you don't want to eat, work longer than humanly possible. Because, according to Army regs, you only need 4 hours rest. You don't even need 4 hours sleep. Just something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
That's military service.
Yeah, it's normal.
Nobody promised us a cruise ship, but there's a line. And leadership has a responsibility to know when their people are approaching that line.
Mm-hmm.
And leadership has the responsibility to know when their people are readiness and military readiness. Morale is military readiness. Sleep matters, food matters, communication with family matters. And the sailors are reaching to the point where they're experiencing serious mental health crisis. We don't get to dismiss that simply because the ship itself is still operational. So when the Pentagon says we can maintain this blockade indefinitely, my response is define we. Are you talking about the ships? Are you talking about the weapons? Or are you talking about America's logistical capabilities? Or are you including the 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old sailors who are actually standing those watches while you're at your desk?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're part of the equation too. And that's why I think the situation aboard the Abraham Lincoln deserves attention regardless of how anybody feels politically about what's happening with Iran. I'm not sitting here arguing today that the blockade is right or wrong. That's not my opinion doesn't matter on that. I'm asking something much simpler. Are we taking care of the people we're asking to carry it out? And here's another group we can't forget: the families. When you're deployed and your family is serving alongside you in a different way, they're waiting. They're watching the news. They're raising kids. They're handling problems back home. And imagine believing your husband, wife, son, or daughter was coming home in May. them plans change, I'd be pissed. Okay. Well, military families, you've dealt with that before.
Yeah.
Then they've extended it in again. And now you're watching reports about deteriorating morale, sailors trying to go overboard. Imagine being a mother. Imagine being a father. Imagine being that spouse. You can't just drive over and check on them. Hell, they're thousands of miles away aboard an aircraft carrier in the middle of military operations. That's why I don't think we should dismiss these families. Investigate their concerns. Find out what's true. Find out what's exaggerated. Find out what's wrong and fix what needs to be fixed, because there's actually some good news in the story. The U.S. George Washington is indeed replacing the Abraham Lincoln. Then somebody's coming to relieve these soldiers. That's good. Bring them home. Let somebody else take the watch. That's how it's supposed to work. But going forward, if the United States intends to maintain this blockade for months or potentially indefinitely, then the Pentagon needs to make sure indefinitely the mission and the deployment of the individual soldiers, they're completely different things. They have enough aircraft carriers, enough destroyers, enough aircraft, enough weapons. Every military operation ultimately comes down to people, and people have limits. Recognizing those limits isn't weakness. Taking care of troops isn't weakness. Rotating exhausted forces isn't weakness. That's leadership.
If I could interject here,
Yeah.
man. I mean, there's a 1,000-year-old book about this. The Sun Tzu's Art of War. Most of it's just about taking care of your troops.
Yes.
And and you think it's incredibly, when you read it, you're like, well, this seems kind of obvious, but you see historically there are so many cases where armies fail because initially they start strong, but the leaders they just forget to do the most important thing, which is take care of your troops.
Right.
Make sure they have enough food. Make sure that they have their morale stays high, that they have supplies, because you're only as good as your soldiers. And
most definitely. Mm-hmm. And when I was a team leader, I always told them, I'm never going to make my soldier do something that I wouldn't do in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is going on here. I think that I think they have a leadership on that boat that's in the mind range of, I got mine, and they're not taking care of their soldiers. That's what I think.
I think it's just a bunch of cocky attitudes.
Right. And when Pete Hegza says, hey, they're misrepresenting, the ship and stuff. Okay. Can you take pictures then? Show us. You do an inspection every Monday and every Friday. Show us. Tell us, Bottom line is, if any veteran, or I shouldn't say veteran, soldiers, any soldiers or airmen that's on this ship, I think they need some mental health help. Apparently they're not getting that, because if they had mental health help, they wouldn't be trying to go overboard. And if they're trying to go overboard, somebody, some squad leader, some team leader is not doing their job.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we also have to admit that in every situation like this, there's going to be people who have mental health issues.
Oh yeah. I mean, I see it all the time when I was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
People would call the attorney general, or I forget what they used to call it. It was like something like GI complaint or something like that, and they thought things would fix. It's just like HR company. They don't fix, it just makes things worse,
Yeah, normally.
I will say this to all the soldiers, airmen, any military personnel on that carrier. If they're listening to this right now, I would strongly encourage you, not to complain to your parents, not to complain to your family members, because, ultimately it's not going to end well for you. It's not going to end well for you. And you're just making your family worry about you. Okay. And there's nothing that they can do. But what
Yeah.
I would strongly encourage you is, hey, get that pen and paper out, write down dates and stuff. It starts with your team leader and it goes up. If you have an issue, work it with your team leader. If you have an issue with your team leader, then work it with your squad leader. Bottom line is, if you really want things to get better and you want to resolve an issue, don't go outside the house. Keep it inside house and get it fixed.
Yeah.
Because sooner or later, just like a checkbook, the truth is going to come out. You don't have to go looking for that checkbook. Okay. So in theory, the last thing I want to say is, maybe the United States Navy can maintain the blockade indefinitely, but if we're going to make that claim, then let's make sure that damn claim is equally committed to taking care of the sailors and the Marines that were asking to maintain this ship, because accomplishing the mission matters, but so does bringing our people home. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my top story.
So as you were going through that, it reminded me that things have definitely changed, because I spent a lot of time with my husband's grandfather, who was a World War II vet, and he was also Navy, and he served in the South Pacific. And he was well known to just sit and laugh at you whenever you told a story about how rough you had it or whatever. He would just be like, ah ha ha.
Oh, I don't think anybody has not had a grandparent. Oh, excuse me. I don't think anybody has ever had a grandparent that hasn't said, "Oh, when I was your age, I was walking to school barefoot in the snow."
Yeah, I mean, and for the most part, it is true, I mean, because times change, but yeah, it just reminded me of sitting there with Grandpa and telling him different stories or different things in the news that would come on, and he'd just start laughing, and he'd just be like, yeah. He was a man of little words, but he communicated very well how he felt just by his laugh.
Right. No, I mean, that's the thing, and I've heard a lot of veterans' point of view, and that's just it. Like, even though I'm a veteran, every veteran is going to have their different point of view in this aspect. Okay, like my theory of who a veteran is completely different than what Magic Mike's theory is. Like Magic Mike's theory, he goes by the dictionary definition that a veteran is somebody that has seen combat. If you haven't seen combat, then you are a soldier. Always a soldier. Once a soldier, always a soldier. You're not a veteran. Like I said, there's many different definitions out there. It just depends on who you talk to.
Well, then
Me,
maybe
myself, huh?
I was just going to say, then maybe they should change it from Veterans Administration to something else.
Exactly. And that's a good point. A long time ago, I was taught something, and, it goes with the Constitution. It goes with anybody and everybody. And that is, sometimes people interpret the translation or the language differently than you do. Doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean they're wrong. It means that we need to compromise and come together and honor their opinion. At the same time, they should honor your opinion.
No, and like, for instance, for me, I only served a year. It was really hard for me to call myself a veteran, but being in the Veterans Administration for now, 27 years. I've been in the Veterans Administration for 27 years. And so it gets just kind of awkward, and so sometimes, I embrace the title veteran, and other times I feel very awkward about the title veteran.
Well,
Because
and the reason why you feel awkward is it's whoever you align yourself with, like the group that you're with, or who you're like, you're standing right by. And that's why people always say, look at who you hang out with, and that's going to tell everybody and anybody where you're going to be in 5 years.
Well,
Because if you're with a group that's going to challenge you on like TikTok or something like that, then you're going to excel.
Yeah, no, definitely. You are who you hang out with. But my hang up specifically is I grew up in a military town with veterans all around me, and active service. And so the connotation of the word veteran holds a lot of weight. And the fact that I did not graduate basic training, I got hurt, and I did spend a whole year in the Army, but still, to me, that just feels weird when I talk to other veterans, so I don't feel like that veteran status sometimes is a lot heavier depending on the situation I'm in.
Right. Depends on who you're talking to. Yeah. I know. I totally get it. I totally get it. We have this term in the civilian life of, who soldiers that have gotten out, they've kind of lost their identity, and they're still latching on to this identity as, oh, you're why are you not shaved? You're wearing your Class A's, dude. Give it a rest. We're retired, It's not like he's burning the flag. Like, there's some things out there that military people are doing that is far worse than, showing up in Class A's and having a mustache that's not, a quarter inch,
Yeah, and it even extends into oh shoot, I just lost my my train of thought. Never mind. Brain fart.
That's all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we lose any more time, we have a special treat, ladies and gentlemen. It is the What the segment. All right, so after this, we'll probably go on a break. We should have probably went on a break for the top news, but I think it was a special talk. Now check this stuff out.
Customers at a gas station in upstate New York were able to get 20% off their purchases, including gas, in exchange for dancing. The gas station posted a video on Facebook showing some of the dancers, including some regulars at the gas station. They did their big one. According to ABC News, the discount was offered all day July 30th and applied to all purchases, except lottery tickets, alcohol, and nicotine. Again, would you do this for a discount on gas? This is an indicator of something, but I would do a backflip if it meant that I would get my gas discounted.
Discount.
That's so
all right.
funny.
So with that being said, all right, now, me and Amber ain't gonna tell you our name or our birth dates, okay? But we will tell you that this rings a bell. The Klondike bar. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Now, would you dance for a discount on gas? One station has been turning a routine stop into something a whole lot more fun. Customers are being offered a discount when they're willing to bust a move at the register. Some people are definitely taking them up on it. With the prices hitting everybody's wallet, would you swallow your pride and dance for a deal? Question of the day: how much of a discount would it take for you to get your dancing going at the register, Amber? Because you're the perfect person to ask this, because Amber she's outspoken, but she's shy. She's kind of shy. I think you're kind of shy.
My childhood friends and most people would not say I'm shy at all. I'm more reserved. I used to be I used to be a class clown, the big goofball, probably because I didn't get any attention at home. But I definitely would dance a jig at the gas station. And it's so funny because last night Alora put some show on. It's called Nathan Does Something. I can't remember what it is, but it's like this reality show where this guy goes out and tries to help small businesses.
Oh, you're talking
with
about Nathan For You?
Yes. And so he went to this gas station and he asked the guy, he said, well, offer the gas for $1.75 a gallon, but then they have to redeem it. And the redemption process is that they had to go all the way up to a mountain, stay the night on the mountain, and do all these ridiculous things to get the money.
You get a rebate on gas, but to get to the rebate box, it's on top of the highest peak in California. And it's like you have to like stay overnight on the mountain, and he like leads like a hike of all these people that want to claim the rebate.
We got Cadillac on TikTok saying, "Hey yo, 50%, and I'm dancing. I'm down."
Oh, my husband said he doesn't get any attention. Oh, I'm sorry, honey.
Maybe that's why I'm so goofy, because I don't get any attention at home. Oh,
he's been goofy his entire life. Holy cow. That dude, I have no idea, honestly and seriously. Sometimes I have no idea if he's being like serious or not.
Oh, I know. He has that face sometimes that he looks like he's joking, but he's not. He's being serious, you know? Like,
so imagine that times 5 with his whole family, and then add my children on top of it. I never know what's going on half the time.
So sometimes I feel for you, Laura, or not Laura, but sometimes I feel for you, Amber. Especially my, I like Laura a lot, but yeah, she doesn't like my driving, so I feel for you on that one.
Well, I don't like your driving either. So.
Nobody does. All right, everybody, we are way past the time, but that's okay. We're going to go on a music break. And when we come back off of that music break, we're going to hit the drop the date. So whatever you do, stay with us. Don't go away. You're listening to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there beyond the VA. You're listening to the H Train Show here on the station that's letting the veterans be heard, MBR. Stay with us.
Between our toes by men who crossed oceans and came back close. They didn't talk much about the hell that they saw, just tipped their hats and lived by the law. We learned early on, you stand or you fall, carry your weight or you don't stand at all. From a hard day's work, no time for lust, showed us what a man is by what a man does. We weren't raised quit or suck dust, bent still, learned to take a hit before we learned to feel. Don't be freedom's foe. That's how it goes with the Boomer Boys. With the Boomer Boys. Yeah. We cut our own switches, drank from roadside ditches, learned which way the river really flows. Yeah, smart enough to always pee downstream. shown. We don't go looking, but we won't back down. Threading what's ours and up in the ground. I'll be freedom's foe. Don't bring my family woe. You never known pain like the kind you know. When you make a good man bad, take his peace away, turn a quiet life into a judgment day. It'll be fun, we won't run, cut you down without noise. That's how it goes with the Boomer Boys. Yeah, with the Boomer Boys. Oh. A homegrown sleeper cell, quiet and still, protecting our kids and paying our bills. Leave our culture alone, let a flag fly free, or suffer the storm from every color and creed. Raised by wolves from a harder time, depression, grit, and a war-born mind. They didn't show love like we do today, too tired for our time. Just go out and play. Don't take my freedom, don't threaten my kin. You'd rather take a wolf's kill from its den, or slap a rattlesnake to see what it do. You'll get bit either way, and that's all on you. Our fathers were hard men, they suffered and lost, built tomorrow from nothing, no matter the cost. Knocked down many times, but got back in the game. They showed us the way, then gave us the reins. Don't be freedom's foe. Don't bring my family woe. You've never known pain like the kind you know. When you make a good man bad, take his peace away, turn a quiet life into a judgment day. It'll be fun, we won't run, cut you down without noise. That's how it goes with the Boomer Boys. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, songs of silence, steel and scars, raised in the shadow of old war stars. And if that call comes, you won't hear noise, just a rising stone of the Boomer Boys. Oh!
Well, if I died tomorrow, you would remember me. And did I do the right things in life? If I died tomorrow, you would remember me. And did I do the right things for my family? Always under pressure, now I stare it at the sun. I'll ride these wings to heaven, what I did is what I've done. And if I died tomorrow, would you come visit me? Wipe off my headstone, maybe rake some leaves, place some pretty flowers and get down on your knees. Maybe say we miss you, then come back another week. Never take for granted your time on this earth. Live each day like it's your last. Love the ones you hold dear. Oh, well, if I died tomorrow, you would remember me. And did I do the right things in life? If I died tomorrow, you would remember me. And did I do the right things for my family? And did I do the right things for my family? Did I do the right things for my family? Well, if I died tomorrow, you would remember me. And did I do the right things in life? pressure, now I stare it at the sun. I'll ride these wings to heaven, what I did is what I've done. And if I die tomorrow, and if I die tomorrow, would you come visit me? Wipe off my headstone, maybe rake some leaves, place some pretty flowers, and get down on your knees. Maybe say we miss.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
All right, everybody, and we are back, and you listen to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there before the VA. And before we run out of time, before we go to our interview, we have Drop That Date.
Today in history.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is August 14, 1945, the day the American heard the war was ending. All right, everybody, it's time. Today, we're dropping this. We're thinking about this for a second. You've been at war for years. You've watched your friends leave home, put uniform on. Families have spent years wondering if their sons, daughters, husbands, fathers, brothers, sisters were ever coming home. Rings a bell, right? Well,
Yeah.
Germany had already surrendered in Europe, but also across. Oh, sorry about that. I left my phone on, evidently. Germany had already surrendered Europe, but across the Pacific, the fighting continued. American service members were still dying. Families were still receiving those dreaded telegrams. Nobody knew exactly how much longer this war was going to go. And then came August 14th. 1945, President Harry S. Truman announced that Japan had accepted the Allied surrender terms. The war was finally coming to an end. Now, imagine being an American service member somewhere in the Pacific when you heard that news. Think about that. Those words meant. It wasn't just another headline. It meant maybe I don't have to fight another battle. Maybe I'm going to survive this. Maybe I'm going home. And back here in the United States, America erupted. People poured into the streets. Car horns were going off. People were dancing. Strangers were hugging each other. Service members and civilians celebrated together, and one of the most famous celebrations happened right in Times Square, New York City. Yeah, you've probably seen the photograph. Thousands of people packed in the streets celebrating something Americans have been waiting years to hear. The war was ending. Now, here's something interesting. You might hear different dates when people talk about V and J Day. You hear August 14th, you'll hear August 15th, and sometimes you'll hear September 2nd. So what's going on? August 14, 1945 was when the announcement of Japan's acceptance of the surrender terms reached the American public. Because of the time difference, it was already August 15th in Japan, which is why August 15th is recognized as V and J Day. In many parts of the world, then on September 2nd, 1945, Japan formally signed the surrender documents aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. That's when the World War II officially came to an end. But here's the part of the story I don't ever want us to forget. When we look at those old black and white photographs, it's easy to see the celebration. What we don't see is the sacrifice behind it. More than 400,000 American service members lost their lives during World War II. Think about that. Those aren't just numbers in the history book. Every single one of those numbers represents a person, somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's husband, somebody's father, somebody's brother. somebody's best friend. And while millions of Americans were celebrating on August 14th, their families were celebrating with an empty chair in their home. Their loved ones wasn't coming back. There were also millions of veterans preparing to come home, carrying the experiences that would stay with them for the rest of their lives. That's something we understand a little bit differently here at MBR. A war doesn't necessarily end for somebody just because the shooting stops. Sometimes veterans bring part of that battlefield home with them. And that's why we remember August 14th is simply about celebrating a victory. It's about remembering the people who made that victory possible. It's remembering the service members who fought, the families who waited, the people who sacrificed, especially those who never made it home. I keep thinking about these service members in 1945 who heard that announcement. Some of them probably convinced themselves that they were going to make it home. And suddenly, for the first time in a long time, they could think, I'm going home. 3 simple words. But for somebody who's been fighting a war for thousands of miles away from their families, those might have been the sweetest 3 words they could have possibly heard at the time. Yeah. So when you look at the calendar, remember what happened 81 years ago. Remember those streets filled with people. Remember the celebration. Remember the families. But most importantly, remember the men and women who made the celebration possible. To every World War II veteran still with us today, and to every family member carrying a memory of somebody who served, thank you. We haven't forgotten you. And as long as we're behind these microphones at MBR, we're going to keep telling your stories. So August 14, 1945, victory was announced. A nation celebrated, and a generation finally became coming home. And that, my friends, is today's Drop the Date. And with being said, we're going to drop off. Instead of us going on a music break, we're going to go on a station identification real quick. And when we come back from that station identification, we're going to be talking with Ozzie Gonzalez, the photographer with a heart. Stay with us. Coming next.
Keep on pushing through. Dreams in my mind, and I know what I gotta do. From the streets to the stage, it's a journey, it's a fight. Every night, every day, gotta keep my goals.
Whenever things get rough or it feels like you're at the edge, remember this: storms pass.
Tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, climb aboard the H-Train show on Military Broadcast Radio. Since 2015, we've helped veterans discover fresh opportunities, nonprofits, and resources beyond the VA. All aboard.
Are you ready for the H-Train show?
It's coming live this Friday at 10 a.m. EST.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
All right. And we're back, everybody. If you're just tuning in, you have just tuned in to Death Row. No, just teasing. The H-Train show. We're here. Me and Amber's only mission is to show veterans and our men and women in uniform all over the world. There are more programs out there beyond the VA. And yeah, so far we have a great show lined up, and everybody is like tuning in and on TikTok. They are waiting for the man, the myth, the legend of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the interview of the week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again. It's a pleasure to see you, Ozzy. How are you?
Pretty good, buddy. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being with us. I'm trying to get it so that all of us can be on the same thing here, and for some reason I can't edit the photo. You might try that HG while I'm talking with Ozzy. Ozzy,
Yes, sir.
so tell us a little bit about yourself. I keep seeing this word captain. Was you in the military?
No, sir, man. I was a boat
Okay.
captain. I was a boat captain for over 20 years. For sport fishing vessels. I did a lot of other stuff, but sport fishing vessels basically what I did mostly.
Okay.
Um, Took care of boats, went out fishing, started off at the age of 12 on the charter boats, washing boats, learning, keeping my mouth shut while all the captains used to yell at me. And then at the age of 18, I decided to head on down to St. Thomas. I didn't even tell my parents where I was going. I just decided to go, on a boat called the Black Gold. So I went down there,
I was gonna say, which that's pretty normal because I remember my grandfather telling me during World War II that he grabbed my grandma, took her to get married. She didn't even know that they were getting married at the time. So it does happen. Continue.
Yeah. So my dad, when I got to St. Thomas, I called my father, and my dad's like, where you at? You've been gone for a couple days now. I know you're 18 and all. You graduated high school. I said, well, Dad, I'm here in St. Thomas. I'm going to fish the season over here, which is the moon. He goes, the moon. I don't think so. You better get on a plane. You better come home. I go, Dad, I'm 18 years old. I could do whatever I want at this point. So he goes, when you get back, we have to talk seriously. I said, okay, not a problem. So when I got home after those 3 months, he gave me an alternative of saying, please, either you finish school, at least get your associates. Back then, it was a big deal to have your associates. And, or if, once you finish school, I will get your captain's license if you don't want to continue going to school. Well, guess what? I ended up being a captain. Well, kept on running around as a mate. I did have my credentials, but I was still a mate at that time, a fishing mate, and traveled basically all over the world fishing, experiencing a lot of different stuff. And as the years went on, I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to travel anymore. I found the woman that I wanted to be with, and I really just wanted to stay home. And we started an airboat business. And in between all this airboat business what I was doing, I took up photography. But before that, let me back it up a little bit. During my airboat times, I used to give workshops. I was a driver for the workshops for Robert Chaplin. And he would take me and I would listen to him talk, and I would take photos with my phone using the settings that he was talking about for the guys that he had on the boat with the major cameras.
Okay.
Well, I was actually taking pretty decent pictures. When I was showing it to him, he looked at me, he goes, when are you buying a camera? I said, nah, I'm not going to do that. What for? I got my phone, just like everybody else. Well, it comes down to the point that I ended up buying a smaller camera. I didn't even buy a full frame. I bought a regular compact camera. Well, I squeezed everything I could out of it. And then he goes, well, are you ready now for a full size camera? And I said, absolutely. So from that point on, it just took off. It took off immensely, So here I am now. I moved out of Florida, as we all know. I lived up in Pennsylvania, and a lot of things happened between here and then. But I'm super happy up here doing what I do. The pictures that I take, the people that I deal with. Back home, tell you the truth, I really don't even like back home anymore. I just like the picture taken back then, and that's what I want to go back to. But I don't want to spend 40 days like I did last year there, last winter.
No, I agree. I lived in Florida for 21 years, and I am so thankful I'm gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The humidity is no joke. It is no joke. So I totally get that. All right. So you was in Florida with your wife, and you guys have moved to another region. From what I understand, you guys moved back to your stomping grounds, kind of.
Well, her stomping grounds.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Florida. I was born and raised in Miami. So I didn't know anything different, so this was a big shock change for me.
Okay, I was getting ready to ask you, like, what shooken up between you being in Florida and you being here? Because I know that you know you have an amazing business. I've seen the pictures. We're gonna have the pictures on a website.
Cool.
Very soon. A lot of these pictures are they're really breathtaking. And
They are.
for
you.
you to be able to have that
Thank you.
keen eye on what's going to look good and what's going to catch people's eye. I really think that takes an art. I really think that that's a skill.
Thank you.
Tell us how being a caregiver with your wife, tell us how that's affected with your photography business.
Well, I'm going to tell you that being a caregiver, this is back even from Florida. Even when I was fishing, I didn't want to be around the world anymore. I didn't want to be out of town anymore because I was taking care of her. Let's start off, down from the nitty gritty. I just wanted to take care of her, and I did. I basically stopped everything that I was doing, and I took up basically wood art at that point. And I was building trophies, fishing trophies, since I was in the fishing industry. I was fishing trophies for all these tournaments. Well, in between there, I didn't have to go anywhere. I could just be at home and just take care of her. Well, I learned a lot of different skills doing that. And it just carried on and carried on. Every time she would go down, I would basically stop what I was doing, take care of her, and give her the help that she needed. As she got better, that she got to, ride in a car, or, I would put the window down just a little bit just so she could stick out her head out, and, so I could drive her around. But I would take her down to the Everglades, even when she couldn't really even walk. When she was still in a walker, I would still go take her out to the Everglades so I could go take some pictures out there. And that really brought up her spirits. Taking care of her has been a big, huge part of my life. Huge part of my life. Being a caregiver to her, it's actually, you can't even describe it, because at the end of the day, you're taking care of somebody you love, and somebody that gave up their life for the military to what she did. So I completely understand. I respect all you guys so much, and I try to do as much as I can for the veterans. That it just tickles me inside to take care of her and to offer my services, whatever I can, to the military and to the veterans.
So let's talk about these services. We're gonna give you a shallow plug here. So tell everybody what you can do virtually, because I saw something that we posted a couple of days ago. I thought it was pretty neat. You have a little bit of a training session. I don't know if that's virtual or if you have to be there in person, but you're a little bit of a skill. Go ahead and explain that and what you have going on here in the very near future.
Well, we have a program called the Lookup Program that I have here on our property. We bought 54 acres up here, and it's pure darkness where we live at nighttime. I love nighttime photography. When I say nighttime photography, that's taking pictures of the stars, star trailing, moons, Milky Ways. I can do virtual, but I prefer if they actually show up. I don't care that if you are in a wheelchair, I could still take care of you. We have plenty of ways of doing that here. And I'd like to give back to the veterans. Be honest with you, I don't think I would even charge them to do this. I would give my services there on the house, like I did when I was doing python hunting. We would take out veterans to do that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Python hunting, the best I got was snipe hunting, and I failed at that shit.
Everybody does.
Snipes really exist? No, I'm just kidding.
These are beautiful pictures.
Yeah, they are very beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, that's right from our property. That other
wow.
picture there is from a place called, I can't remember the name of that lookout, but that you can look over, I don't know how many towns on that picture there, and that, when you don't have any clouds, you got to be creative. And that's the creativeness right there,
Have you ever tried infrared photography?
No, I've
You
never
haven't?
done infrared photography.
I went to a art show recently and saw some, and I was just so amazed at what they did.
Wow, I got to look into that because I've never tried that. I specialize. I love, like I said, I love my nighttime stuff.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and putting your art flair into it is where it counts.
Right.
I might take, there's days that I take, 100 pictures. Out of those 100 pictures, I might get 2 that are worth anything.
That's a cool one. I really like that one.
Yeah. little snapping turtle.
What I see is like holiday cards. Like you could take these pictures and you could literally use them as like holiday cards.
I'm thinking of a calendar.
Yeah.
Or a calendar, yeah.
The Everglades National Park, I don't know if they used one of my shots for their passport. When you get your passport, when you go into Everglades National Park, you can pick up a passport picture. And
So
then
that's what that was. So HG, real quick, in my Facebook Messenger, there's a picture that MJ sent. It looks like it's a seasonal pass or whatever. That's what she was talking about. I people send me this stuff, and it's almost like 3D printing. There's not very good instructions. I kind of have to put 2 and 2 together, and being a TBI guy, that's a dangerous settlement.
Okay, I was wondering what you meant by passports. I was like, huh? I've been to a lot of the national parks, so I was confused.
Yeah, each national park has one of these for the park.
Okay,
and I got chosen for that passport picture. For that
that's
year.
cool.
Yeah, it's really an honor. Working with the park was really, really neat. At the Everglades National Park and Biscayne National Park, of course, veterans get in for free when they get in there. They also, if you go to the gift store, you also get like a 10% off there. I don't know about all the other parks. Excuse me?
I say you don't have to dance for it. They just give you 10%, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you don't have to dance for it, man. I mean, last time we had that happen, not a good thing. Not a lot of good things happen there.
Ozzy, these are gorgeous, man. They really are.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny because my wife tells me all the time, we'll be driving. She goes, "Oh my God, that would look so good on your camera." And I look at the shot. I'm like, "Oh, honey, take it with your phone."
That's the best shot right there. That is the best shot right there.
Yeah. That's
I don't know about that one. That was kind of scary, but
yeah. That's all turkey hunting there.
So Ozzy, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of experience taking care of
Thank you.
Your wife, and you've had a lot of experience, in the service department and being a police officer and stuff. What's the biggest thing that you've learned? Like what's your greatest accomplishment that you think that you've learned since you've met MJ and today where you're at? What has it taught you?
This is going to sound really crazy, but patience is what she's actually taught me, because I was 100 miles a minute at all times. 100 miles a minute. I mean, I never.
All men are like that. That's the reason why we can't multitask.
Look at the definition on that picture, though. It almost looks like an orange or an eyeball.
Yeah. No, it's pretty intense. I'm looking at that picture. I'm not really a big fan of full moons. And the reason why, because it looks like a pancake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
And that's me. I criticize my own work all the time. And she says that's one of my biggest downfalls, But I love experiencing this. When I was a kid, my mom used to say, "Son, try to see as many sunsets and sunrises as you can, because you don't know when your last one's going to be."
Now, what is that? Is that just
It's
You
called
moving
star
it.
trailing.
Okay.
Star trailing is that's about 100 and that picture there. I think it was 181 pictures, all put into one.
Okay.
You know, I stack them is what I do. People think that the stars are moving, and it's not the stars, it's us. You know, as we all know, we rotate. The stars don't rotate. And
I love this picture. It really
yeah.
just puts into perspective how fast the Earth is spinning.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you know, there's some in there that are in a big swirl, and that's pointing at Polaris. That's the North Star.
Mhm.
And that's just unbelievable, the colors and the perception that you can get when you look at these pictures. You know, when you're taking them, you know, you're sitting there looking at it, the camera's just going off every second. It's taking a picture every 1 second, boom, boom, and just shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. When you think that you have enough, you stop it. That one, I believe the cloud started moving in. That's why I had to cut it early. But most of the time, I'll take up to 300 shots and
Wow, that's amazing.
stack them all together. Yeah. You know, I mean, it takes some time, and then it takes skill to, there you go. And you see the pink behind it?
Mm-hmm.
That's the Royal Borealis behind it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I got lucky. And to the left side of the picture, that's our house. So I'm doing everything right here from our property.
Wow.
I don't have to go anywhere, you know? So when I offer my services to the veterans and to other people I want to come experience this, we don't have to go anywhere. You come here at the comfort of my own home. If you're tired, you can take a nap while your camera's working, or you could just sit there and just enjoy the night and watch all the star trailing going on right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So Ozzie, maybe there's a veteran watching this as we speak, you know, and,
right?
You know, he's interested in photography, but you know, he's maybe he's scared because a lot of veterans, I think, they're not lazy. I think they're scared of, you know, they don't really know the navigation. They don't know where to start. You know,
Right.
You're like, okay, I know not to go to Walmart and buy a $20 camera because that's not exactly starting somewhere, you know. But like, what would be your advice to somebody that's just, you know, looking at this, getting a tingle for it?
My advice, if you want to get into photography, my advice is to please give me a call. You know, don't be shy. Send me an email, give me a call, send me a text, something, and I will guide you the right way without spending a ton of money. I mean, my camera, believe it or not, it's an expensive camera, but it's not what people think it is. You know, I got all my buddies that I shoot with back in Florida. And I love the group that I shoot with. They're called the Sunshine Boys that I hang out with. And they all have, you know, they're just, the camera bodies are all $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 body cameras. Mine, I have $1,000 body camera that does everything that they do. Everything. The only thing that they got me beat on is how many shots per second I could take versus them. They could take up to 30. I take 15, 18, depending where my camera's loading at, you know. But
And
the clarity is all there.
Photos that you take, is that depending on the person, or is that depending on the camera usually?
Well, it depends on the person and the eye, because once I cut you loose, it's up to you for you to do something with it. You know, you will get all the lessons from me, and you will know where to start. And and you have to start somewhere, you know. And the best way I could think of, if you hang out with somebody that takes pictures, you're going to learn really, really fast, because that's how I got into this whole thing. Robert Chaplin took me underneath his wing, and by the time you know it, you know, I got to the point that he had to let me go. You know, he had to open up that wing. Go ahead, man, go experience it. You know, take pictures, send them to me. Let me see what you got going on. And he would critique it down to the nitty gritty. And I got pretty thick skin, so it doesn't matter to me. But he would critique it to the point that, you know, you would actually, if you're a soft person, you would actually cry sometimes, because you think you got this beautiful shot, and he would go, okay, this, and it just makes you a better photographer, honestly. And then, you know, little by little, you start gaining that confidence, and boom, by the time you know it, you got that beautiful award-winning shot. which is really cool to have.
Yeah, this is it. Ozzy, I've known you for quite some time.
Yes, sir.
And when I saw these photos, this just goes to show sometimes you don't know a person well enough until you kind of step out of your comfort zone and kind of look at what they enjoy. And like I did not know this part of you, until MJ invited me in. And these
That's
shots
cool.
and stuff, they truly are amazing. You have
Thank
you
you.
have a gift, which unfortunately our time is about ready to end, but it is that time. It is your time to shine.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, not to back it up, but I work with a group called the Swamp Apes.
Hold that thought, Oz.
Go ahead.
We've been, for some reason, we've been having some like internet buffering. Like you press on a thing and it takes 5 minutes for it to load. So we apologize for that. Go
It's
ahead,
all
Oz.
All right, there's a group that's back in Florida. If any of these veterans are down in Florida and they want to really get their adrenaline going, there's a group called the Swamp Apes. That's down in Florida. This gentleman by the name of Tom Rayhill takes them out. He only takes out veterans out on these python hunts. That he just won the big python challenge back in Florida. But if it's incredible how many veterans actually get together to do this. And it's a way of actually releasing whenever they need to get out and do something. It's a great way for them to release their anxieties out with him. To get a hold of them, it's real simple. Swampapes.org, and just send him an email and he'll set you right up.
Cool.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And real quick, to give you more of even a better plug, you have an event going on in the very, very near future. You want to tell us a little bit about that, and like is there a cost? Where is it at? What will you be teaching during that session?
Well, I'll be teaching. I got some star trailing that I'll be doing here real soon because the moon's almost about to start coming up here at a very undecent hour for me. I don't like that. But yeah, it's the cost for the veterans. There's no cost for it. They want to come down. They want to plug into me. Come on down. I would even donate my camera to them. Not to give it to them, but for them to shoot, and then they could have their pictures and they could learn, and maybe that might get them a little bit further into it. The cost is basically $99 for anyone that's not a veteran. But if you are a veteran, I'll be more than glad to put you underneath my wing. And if you're not sure about all this, I'll be more than glad to show you.
Okay.
I love it. I absolutely love it. There was a while on TikTok where there was this guy that he was doing like camera pictures, and he was showing all these like neat pictures and like showing how to do it, like putting the sticking the phone in the sand, like right towards the beach as the water's like coming through, and then
Absolutely.
taking all these different stand things. So that's one thing that intrigues me about the photography field is there's never the same kind of picture. Like there's always something different.
Yep. Real fast on this. There could be, when I used to go shoot with all the boys down there in Florida, it would be 3 of us shooting at the same time and shooting at the same exact thing. And all our pictures were always completely different. Completely. There's not one picture. The general idea was there, but the details were completely different. And that's what I love about photography. I got my own style. I got my own art that I put into it. My buddy Lee Smith has his own way of doing this. Oscar Lopez has his own way of doing things, and it's really, really, really neat how we all develop our own style, but we all come together at the end and put all our pictures together and send them out to the public.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I as soon as I moved to Missouri,
Mhm.
it was a completely different atmosphere than I'd ever been in, because I grew up in Southwest Oklahoma, then moved to Florida and lived there for a long time. So Missouri, with all the mountains and just the beautiful trees and just
Mhm.
everything that's just so beautiful, and the architecture. I bought a couple of cameras. I even bought an old camera just to kind of play around with. I have no idea what I'm doing, but now you've inspired me to go find somebody around here to teach me.
Well, you have any questions, you could always give me a holler.
Okay.
I mean, you get a hold of me through MJ or just give me a call right on my phone.
Yeah.
And I could even Zoom with you, and I could, and I could show you what to do
Okay.
with different opportunities. I'll be more than glad to teach you. And I love to see the progression on people. And to tell you the truth, my high is when a person takes one of my students takes a picture, is bringing it to life. When I say bringing it to life, you print it. When
Yeah.
you put it hang on the wall, it just becomes boom. There it is,
Mhm.
ready to go. You're like, wow, that talking about inspiration, that's inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
know-
I may hit you up on that.
And I tell you what, it sounds like MBR might have another outlet coming up like next year or whatever. Maybe we need a photography server to where, we have a place where veterans can come together, put their pictures together, learn stuff. Because I'm sure that there's a veteran out there that maybe they're not He-Man, or maybe they're not, Science Man, or, good at their hands, but they're good with their eye. So
Right.
photography could definitely be an outlet, something that we might have to look into. Ozzy, I kind of wish we had a little bit more time, because I find it fascinating to talk to you. You've supported and helped MBR, you and MJ, for many years, and I just want to say thank you for everything that you guys have done, and thank you for what you continually doing. And my friend Tim, he's tuning in. It was very interesting Tuesday during the Tracer show that I asked Tracer, I'm like, hey, that Tim, do you know who he is? And both her and Amber were like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, we helped him, and we helped him in Florida, getting his stepping stone, getting him back up. And now he's doing amazing. Last time I heard, he lost 25 pounds, which, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because you got to go buy a new wardrobe, so I don't know about that, but Tim is a perfect example of, we're not just here broadcasting. When you donate to MBR, you're helping these veterans
Absolutely
being heard. Preventative action. We talk about it all the time. Hey, we put Facebook posts on there. Hey, if you're in trouble, 9988. I guarantee you somebody is going to listen to a broadcast before they read into something.
Absolutely.
and then call the 988, because I learned with my service dog, people don't know how to read. So take it as you will. Ozzy, thank you so much for being with us.
You.
I really
And
appreciate
thank
it, brother.
Thank you for all your services, and to all the veterans out there, honestly.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you, Ozzy. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Ozzy Gonzalez. I say that, pronounce it, because I know I pronounced that right. Photography. If you are in need of a photographer, or you're in the Pennsylvania area, reach out. He can do cards, he can do calendars, he can do spots. And not only are you helping a small business, but you're also helping a veteran co-owned business as well.
Absolutely.
Ozzy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right, well, everybody else, before we go to tribute to troops, like it just rings true. Sometimes you know somebody, but you don't really know them. Like when I saw these pictures, I was mesmerized. Like, there's some amazing pictures, and I'm not a nature person. You know that, Amber. I don't care about mountains and skies and stuff like that. But his pictures made me pause the other day when I was getting ready to like make this website, and yeah, that's just that takes a skill. That takes a skill.
It's beautiful work. I was extremely impressed, and all I could think about was there's these fields out here around me that during the spring it's just all purple flowers in the field and purple flowers on the trees and just these beautiful rows and rows of fields, and I just want to capture that, but I want to capture it, it's what it really is. And when I saw his photography, I was like, oh, it is possible. It's possible to capture that. So,
well, I know that next time MJ comes and visits and Ozzy is with her, I'm going to make sure that we utilize his skills, because MBR could definitely need some portraits. But for everybody else, we're going to go on our tribute to troops. And when we come back from the tribute to troops, well, we've got a brand new segment called The Story Behind It. You're going to like this one. So whatever you do, stay with us. Don't go away. You're listening to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there beyond the VA since 2005. No, 2018. We'll say 2018. You're listening to the H-Train Show on the station Veterans Being Heard. Stay with us.
Detail attention.
First call. The service member's name is called out loud in the context of a unit. This is meant to ensure all are present and accounted for. Second call. The name is called out again, louder, to confirm that the service member is indeed absent. Third call. The name is called out for a final time, followed by a statement indicating that the service member is not present and accounted for, signifying their death. The final roll call serves as a symbolic gesture to respect and remember their service.
Sir, I don't know how to tell the story.
Well, you got to, Joe. You tell these people what these men did here. You tell them how my troopers died.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to NBR today as we pay tribute to United States Navy Senior Chief Cryptologic Technician Shannon M. Kent, age 35 of Pine Plains, New York. Kent was born on May 11, 1983 in Oswego, New York, to Stephen Smith and Mary Plover Smith. A native of Pine Plains, Shannon grew up in a deeply service-oriented family. Her father, Stephen Smith, dedicated his life to law enforcement and continues to serve as a colonel in the New York State Police Department. Her uncle, Benny Plover, is a retired FDNY firefighter. Shannon's commitment to service was woven into her upbringing, and the September 11th attacks became the defining moment that inspired her to enlist in the Navy. Shannon entered the Navy on December 11, 2003, determined to serve her country at the highest level. She deployed multiple times to Iraq and Afghanistan, earning a reputation for brilliance, grit, and unwavering dedication. In 2007, she volunteered for her first deployment supporting SEAL Team 10 in Balad, Iraq. Her work there earned her a commendation, citing her direct role in the capture of hundreds of enemy fighters. She later joined Cryptologic Warfare Activity 66, based at Fort George G. Meade, Maryland, when the command was established in 2018. On January 16, 2019, while conducting operations in Manbij, Syria, Kent was killed in a suicide bombing attack along with 3 other people. Shannon became the first U.S. female service member killed in combat against ISIS since the coalition began its operations in 2014. Her work in cryptologic warfare and intelligence was exceptional. Shannon was recognized repeatedly for her impact, earning 2 Joint Service Commendation Medals, Navy Marine Corps Commendation Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Joint Service Achievement Medal, Iraq Campaign Medal, and Sea Service Deployment Medal. She was also a graduate of the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, California, a testament to her intellect and capability in high-stakes intelligence operations. She was fluent in Spanish, French, Portuguese, and 6 dialects of Arabic. Her commanding officer described her as a rock star and an outstanding leader, and a chief petty officer whose drive and tenacity were infectious. In recognition of her service and sacrifice, the Navy posthumously promoted her to Senior Chief Petty Officer. Shannon is survived by her husband, Joseph Kent, a retired U.S. Army Special Forces soldier, and their 2 young sons, Colton and Josh, her parents, and her brothers and sisters in arms. We here at NBR would like to thank you, Senior Chief Petty Officer Shannon M. Kent, for your service and dedication to our country. You leave a legacy of love and courage. Our prayers are with your family, friends, and those who served alongside you. You are truly missed.
Bell detail, attention, ready.
Signed up to fight for freedom. What a price you had to pay. Picture in her helmet, missing family every day. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane. Some scars we'll never see. She will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend. Standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. On that old dusty base with the meadows that shine, she's been to hell and back for the stars and the stripes. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane, and some scars we'll never see, and she will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend. Standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. Yeah, yes. pause and then they cry. We can still see their smile in every sunrise. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend, standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve, 'cause you can't spell hero without her. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her.
Every setback is just a setup for a comeback. Keep quacking forward. 90% of what we worry about in future never happens.
Whenever things get rough or it feels like you're at the edge, remember this: storms pass.
Tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You're listening to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there beyond the VA. You're listening to the H Train Show. And once again, our mission here is to show veterans and all the men and women in uniform all over the world all the programs that are out there beyond the VA. We have a brand new segment, Amber, because, you know, it just wasn't the same without you, you know, doing the factor cap and, you know, it's sometimes it's kind of hard finding those factor caps. You know, you got to wait for that video. But one thing that isn't hard is, you know, you can pick anything. You can pick a Dr. Pepper can. You can pick up a cigarette. You can pick up an MRE. And there's always, that's our new segment, there's always a story behind it.
In the field wasn't always easy. They needed a meal ready to eat anywhere. In 1981, the MRE was born. Today it fuels readiness wherever the mission leads.
So the story behind it, why do we call it an MRE? Okay, all right, everybody, it's time for a brand new segment here on the H Train Show. We're calling this the story behind it. The idea is pretty simple. We see things every single day and we use them, we eat them, we carry them. Sometimes we don't give them a second thought, but almost everything has a story behind it. And today we're starting with something just about every veteran knows, the MRE. Now, if you've served in the military, I probably don't even have to explain what one of these are, but here is my question. Why the hell do we call it an MRE? Well, MRE stands for meal ready to eat.
Meal
Pretty
ready to
straightforward,
eat.
right? But see, the MRE wasn't always what American troops carried into the field. Long before today's plastic pouches, American troops were eating all kinds of field rations. During World War II, you had things like K rations and C rations. Later came the meal combat individual, commonly associated with the old C rations. And those meals did their job. But there was a problem. Cans are heavy. Think about that. Being a soldier, carrying your weapon, ammunition, water, and everything else you need, and then adding several cans of food. The military needed something lighter, easier to transport, and capable of surviving some serious rough conditions. And that's where the idea of the MRE really starts taking shape. Development work on what became the MRE was underway by 1970. By 75, it had been officially typed, classified, full-scale production began in 1980. And the first production of MREs started reaching troops in 1983. Instead of relying on those heavy cans, the foods could be sealed inside lightweight, flexible pouches. But here's something else that's interesting. Those things had to survive conditions your lunch at home never to worry about. Yeah, they had to have long shelf life. They had to survive extreme temperatures. They had to be transportable. They had to be airdropped. And most importantly, they had to provide enough nutrition to keep somebody's operating in the field. Now, there's one other little problem. Soldiers actually had to want to eat the damn things. And anybody who's eaten some of those MREs knows that apparently that part took a little longer to figure out. In fact, troops have come up with plenty of their own meanings for MREs over the years. You've probably heard of them. Meals rejected by everyone. Or maybe you'll heard some version that probably is better off not saying on the radio.
Thank
but
you.
Here's where the story gets really interesting. During Desert Shield and Desert Storm, troops weren't exactly given the MREs 5-star reviews. No, the Army got the message, and according to the Army Combat Feeding Directive, after Desert Storm, General Colin Powell summoned officials involved with combat feeding to the Pentagon. He held up an MRE and essentially gave them a very simple mission: fix it. And they did. The military started a continuous improvement program. Eventually, the number of menus went from 12 to 24. More variety was introduced. Vegetarian options came along. Commercial food products started showing up. And then came out the greatest invention ever given to a hungry soldier, the flameless ration heater. You put a little water in there, and chemical reaction generates enough heat to warm your entree. No fire, no stove, no microwave. Just
when did that start?
And a lot of people, they use urine instead of water. Just letting you know. Just chemistry, and the MRE kept evolving. Think about how far we've come. At one point, we're talking about soldiers carrying canned rations. Today, there's a pizza MRE. Believe it or not, making shelf-stable pizza was actually a serious scientific challenge because the Army needed the bread, the sauce, the cheese, and pepperoni to survive together inside a package for years without refrigeration. So the next time you see that brown plastic bag, or you're sitting there trying to trade somebody your entree for their snacks, jalapeno cheese. It's a sensitive item. Just giving you a tip. Remember, you're holding decades of military history, food science, engineering, and lessons learned from generation of American service.
What was your favorite thing in the MRE?
Mine? I would say chili mac. And the reason why I like the chili mac is because I tended to like things that I could eat cold. I would eat cold shit in the breakfast, and then I would warm it up for dinner, because usually we had, some kind of a ration or whatever for lunch, or, either way, they'd swap it, either a hot for lunch or a hot for dinner. But yeah, I hated peanut butter, and peanut butter came in everything. Oh,
I don't like peanut butter either.
And for the soldiers out there that don't know, that chewing gum, there's a reason why you chew that gum after the MRE. It has X-Lax in it. Just so you guys know, okay?
It does, really?
It does. It's meant to clean you out once you get done, because I believe the MRE is like 2,000 or 3,000 calories. It's enough to fill you and power you for the whole day. Do we do that? No. What typically happens is we call it rat screwing, and we we rip up the MRE, we take the goods out, and then we throw the other crap away. Kind of
Yeah, we
like
do.
charms. If you're a soldier, don't get caught eating charms, because when you eat charms, it's supposed to rain and you'll get your butt kicked. So
Wait, what are you talking about? Eat charms?
Yeah, so in MREs, there's these the candy charms, and you're not supposed to eat those, because whenever you eat the myth is it's going to rain when you eat charms.
Oh,
yeah,
I never heard that before.
Yeah, so
My favorite thing was the oatmeal bars.
Oatmeal bars are good. Pound cake. I love pound cake.
Lemon pound cake.
I love pound cake.
My cousin's husband opened up for Afro Man this last weekend.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
Sorry, you said pound cake, so I was just.
That brought up the police blotter. Oh boy, that's funny. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is the story. The final thoughts. We're going to go into the final thought time.
At Project ML, strategy. Our mission is simple: to give motorcycles to veterans who need the kind of peace and freedom that only a ride can give. We sponsor charity events and rides to generate donations and fund the acquisition of some bikes, while direct bike donations make up the rest. We seek to provide a little motorcycle healing to capable vets.
If you know a veteran or you're a veteran yourself, you can go to their website and nominate for a free motorcycle. They give one every single year. Before I forget, next week we have Brianna from Every Journey Joyful One. She will be in studio doing an interview talking about what they're doing for the Westminster community and what they're doing for veterans. And, that's that time. Oh, shoot, HG.
Yeah.
You forgot to remind me your sports report.
Oh, it's all right.
You give us your sports report real quick. We can extend a little bit.
Yeah, we're
okay.
good.
All right, I'll give you the real quick rundown.
Okay.
So we'll start in the WNBA. The Minnesota Lynx and Las Vegas Aces are the first two teams to secure a postseason berth. Two teams that are real close to securing another postseason berth as well. The Valkyries, with their league-leading defense, only allowing 77 points per game. 2 nights ago, got a stifling victory over the Chicago Sky, only allowing 2 Sky players to score in double digits in a 91-71 rout. Then the Atlanta Dream, another playoff hopeful that could secure his position soon, was led by their backcourt duo of Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard, each scoring 29 and combining for 9 made threes as Atlanta dismantled Connecticut 104-69. The MLB brought back the Field of Dream games for the first time in 4 years as the Phillies destroyed the Twins 7-1. Kyle Schwarber blasted 2 home runs into the cornfields of Iowa, bringing his league-leading total to 37. A very interesting dispute between Jaden Daniels and the LSU. He sent them a cease and desist letter. They have an ongoing dispute. He's not happy that they're allowing sophomore cornerback DJ Pickett to wear his old number 5. A little military sports news. Army has just extended their second most winningest coach in program history. Jeff Monken inked a new 5-year deal to stay at West Point. He's been 89-63 in his career at the Black Knights. He is 6-4 against Navy in their last 10 matchups and led the Black Knights to their first ever 12-win season back in 2024. Number 1 overall pick, Fernando Mendoza, made his NFL debut last night against the Arizona Cardinals. He went 10 for 16 with 97 yards and a touchdown. Does look like Kirk Cousins will probably be the veteran quarterback, will be the starter, though. They had him play one drive. He was absolutely phenomenal on that one drive, though. 5 of 6 for 50 yards and a touchdown to open the game. Then we also saw Third overall pick, Jeremiah Love, make his debut. Put up 58 yards on 11 carries, but showed off some of that elite athleticism that made him a standout in the Heisman candidate at Notre Dame, hurdling a defender on his longest run of the night. That's your sports report for the week.
Thank you so much, HG. One thing that I think we all learned today was never judge a book by its cover. Get to know the person. There's things that you'll find out that you never knew. So I kind of share what we all learned today. And before we leave, ladies and gentlemen, Beaker has a few words to say to you.
Stay smart, stay safe, be legendary. Know before you go. Don't drink and drive, and don't drive distracted.
There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your weekend safety brief. We are out of here. We want to say thank you so much to not only Amber for showing up. We want to thank you, HG, for being behind the screen and helping us. Without you, we couldn't do this. We want to thank Ozzie for coming on and showing us his gift and his skill. And we want to thank you, everybody that's listening and everybody's viewing, because we know you have a choice of who you listen to in the morning, and you gave us 5 minutes, and we really appreciate that. So from everybody here at MBR, we're here to remind you, we're not here for us. We're here for you. We all said, giving our veterans a voice. Have a great one, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a blessed week.
Hi, I'm Beaker with Military Broadcast Radio TV. We're your virtual MWR, bringing veterans radio, podcasts, gaming, animation, 3D printing, and a community that never leaves you behind. Download our Roku or mobile app today.
Wisdom to share if you listen this week, so pull up a chair and stay for a spell. We're heading down a trail where good stories dwell.